Hello. Okay, in this technique sample, you guys are gonna explore the maps and experiment with them and just try to get familiar and just figure out what is the point of maps, what is the difference. So hopefully by now you have that PDF open from CLO that really breaks it down. And we're just gonna try maps and see how it looks, okay? So I have this kind of crazy garment that's kind of chopped up so that we can just see the differences in them. And we have our default simulation fabric. That's what it's in right now. So I copied it and I made this new one, and it says texture map only. So this one, we're gonna put just the texture map in, okay? So let's go find where to do that. Again, when you guys are selecting it, make sure you don't select your pattern. You wanna actually select the fabric that's in the object browser. So once that's selected, then the property editor will give you what you're looking for. Okay, so let's scroll down. It's under material, under basic parameters, boom, there is texture. So go ahead and click those 4 boxes and upload the file I gave you, texture map, say open. Okay, so now let's go ahead and put this one in this little square right here. So I'm gonna go ahead, click, drag, and drop right there. Cool, so now we have our texture map. Let's zoom in. So that's what it looks like. It's like this little crochet artwork that's happening, very flat. Okay, so now take your texture map, because the next one we're gonna do, we're gonna keep the texture map and we're gonna add a normal map right here. So you can select your fabric and say copy. Okay, you know what? I am gonna rename it. This is gonna be texture map and normal map. Oops, okay. Great. So click on that fabric. We have our texture map already there since we copied it. Let's go find our normal map. It's actually right underneath texture map. Click the little squares and go ahead and put in the normal map as well. Okay, so now we are ready to click, drag, and drop it. And let's see if we can compare these two. Is there a difference? Dun, dun, dun. Okay, guys, see where it splits? Let's, it's not huge. Oh, too close, too close. Okay, oh, let me deselect. Okay, can I go closer? Anyways, can you kind of see it? I can tell the difference. There's a little bit more shading on the left side, and it's more flat on the right. Like there's a little more like gray around. So that's kind of giving it, just a little more oomph that it's like 3D versus completely flat. It's not huge, but there it is. We can play with our intensity. Why don't I go ahead and change my normal map to be more intense at 100? Now you really see the difference, huh? So that's kind of neat. So it just adds a little bit of shading. When I rotate my fabric though, my fabric is still totally flat. Okay, so it has shading, like it's kind of like a drawing that you draw and it's flat, but it's not like crinkled paper, that's like 3D. So let's add the crinkle, which is the displacement map, okay? So I'm actually gonna take this fabric, I'm gonna copy it, I'm gonna rename this guy, texture normal map, and displacement. Okay, you get the idea, there's a map. Okay, so that's what we're gonna do next. And let's go ahead and put it, I think for right now, I'm just gonna put in this one next to it so we can compare it. I know in the assignment I have you guys putting it to the right, but let's just drop it here for right now just to see what it does. Okay, let's get a little zoom happening. Okay, great. So now let's go ahead and make sure we're clicking our fabric. There's the normal map. Let's go add our displacement map. So I click those blue squares. There it is, displacement map. Amount, let's just try 3 for right now. Okay, it looks exactly the same, right? That's because we need the render window open to see it. So hit render, and let's do this little circle thing. Woo! And it popped out because I hit the number 3. So you can see it like really kind of popped out. And it looks like crinkled paper, right? Like some of the texture is more forward and some is smaller, like pushed away. So it's definitely not flat, where this one, the middle one right here, is flat. Let's see here. What if we change it to 0? They basically look the same. But if you want it to be more 3D and pop out, you can put a number. What if I went crazy and said 8? It's kind of fun just to like really see what's going on. But anyways, I just want you to kind of play around with it, just so you really kind of understand what it's doing. You can see it hits the light totally different because of this. Yeah, it's kind of cool. Okay, when you're done, you'll put that fabric in the right spot as well. But you kind of get the idea. I also have a reflection map for you guys. So that one's a little bit different. You see how it says reflection and then it says roughness. I have a roughness map. CLO actually has you can play. Roughness is like to make it shiny or not shiny. They just have it kind of auto for you. But if you have a map, it's a drop down menu. So I do have a map and I'd like you guys to kind of pop it in and play around with it and see what you think as well. Let's see, here's my roughness map. There it is. So it's really supposed to play with the lighting a little bit more, make that a little more intense. And then we also have for you guys to play with the Metalness Map. For this one to see the difference, you're gonna wanna probably change your fabric type to be metal. Okay, and then the last one I have for you is the Opacity Map. So let's click on that guy. There you go. So you can see through to the skin. Okay, so let me get out of this render window. But basically, I just kind of cut it up, and I just want you to put the maps and make it the fabric with the special map so you can compare and contrast the fabric on your document. And when you're done, just take a screenshot and share your experience with the class. I know I have where it says just texture and opacity. If you want to add more maps, you can. I just want to make sure it for sure has at least those 2. It's up to you if you want to just do those 2 or if you want to add more. This is all for you to experiment. So either way, but I want you to play with all of them and play with the settings, the intensity, all of that is kind of free form. I just want you guys to get more familiar with maps and try to understand what the heck they do. Okay? All right, guys, looking forward to seeing what you guys think of maps.